rendering it just like it does an actual image. So now you'll see that like the roads and stuff, they look like they're kind of embedded. So you get that effect out of this program. So you could do that with a lot of different ones. You'll kind of also see that there's this little highlighted glow. Uh, so some of the other ones that some of the other effects that you can get a lot of different effects out of here. And all you got to do is come here, and like right now I'm on contour 2. Let's go to roads. I've got 2 glows, right? So let's say I want to edit that glow because I don't like the way it is. Well, there's your color right there. It's 28, 28, 28. It's an inside glow. And strength is 0 through 8, so I can put like a strength of 1 on it. Okay, okay. And it's going to re-render. And bam. Now you can see how like it's a lot darker. It looks a lot thicker, right? And we're going to do a similar effect with our little edge right here when we get to that point. But for right now, we don't need to be at that point. So while you're working on this stuff, if you ever get CC3, always make sure that you do not work in activate sheet effects, right? You never want to do that. And of course, I'm going to hide contour 2 again because I'm working on my thingamajigger. Luckily, I don't have my camera on. My wife showed me her boobies. So that's one of the things. Is like you can really get in depth with this program and use a lot of different sheet effects and whatnot. So right now, what we're going to do is I'm going to continue doing what I was doing. We're going to work on. So we're going to actually kind of concentrate on this little quadrant right here, right? So go back to road. So you notice that error I got, that's left clicking on it, so there's no default value for the road. But if you right click on it, you pull this menu up, and this menu right here, you can actually select different styles and stuff like that, so you can kind of mix and match and find stuff that you want to find. Hey, there's a 5-foot smooth. Alright, so we're going to start right here. Go right here. Smooth was the wrong choice. What kind of? Make it work. That's a very small road. We're going to hold off on that. And I got to also see where my edge is coming here. So on this one right here, I'm going to start right there. Down to right there. Over right there. That looks good. Alright. So for this area right here, what I want to do is I want to come back. I want to bring that back up. So yeah, you can see where I'm starting to have my overlap right there. So what I want to do now is I'm going to come back to my roads. Select 20-foot smooth. Come right there. Right there, because that's my 20-footer. Oops. Come back here. Go to 10-foot. Now on a water source, you would not have a 10-foot road. You would have a 10-foot plank, right? But because we are working on the idea that this right here is going to be a sky dock, changing things up a little bit. And what I'm trying to do here is I'm just trying to right now make sure that all my stuff gets into where I need it. I'm going to utilize this to actually fill in draw all that. Alright, so I've got my first part right there done. So now I can go ahead and hide my contour again. Well, I start off, so that's a good question. Let me go ahead and save this, and I'll get into the other aspects of it. So this right here is just the map, right? So we're going to go ahead and save this, because I need to save it anyway, because if you don't save this program periodically, it will crash on you. And then I'm going to open up my other one. My other one that I use is Realmworks. So Realmworks, it's a repository type thing, right? So you can have multiple campaigns. It's a great thing. It's from the same people that make Player Lab and whatnot, which I also have. Again, this is a paid-for program, and it's also Lone Wolf Development makes it. So it still has a lot of things that are coming out with it, and a lot of things that are being developed for it. So typically, I have a couple of different ways that I go about creation. For this right here, because this is all centered on the campaign, you'll notice that I have my campaign stories, 5th edition, the adventures right there, and I have Chronicles of aelas, 5th edition, right? So what I've done so far is I've started my campaign, and I've denoted like some actual NPCs I need, right? So I have my little area here, characters of aelas, people, NPC list. And then I got some sub lists in there. So first I've got my nobles, which is going to make up my town council and whatnot. And they may or may not be important to the storyline. They may get encountered with, or you may fight them or whatnot. I haven't got that far into the planning. But what I've done for right now is like Commander Atrox, who can come here. He's got an entry. Alright, it's a very dull entry. Nothing is actually up and running. So let's go Baron something or other. I haven't decided a name on him. It's like all these guys are empty. So far off, all I've done is made a blank. And what I'll do is as I go through my planning, I'll actually flesh these guys out, right? So I'll come up with an actual who is this, who is that, and then I got Corin Ringots, and Corin Ringots, right? He's going to be a syndicate leader. And all these people, they've come from some various different things. So if I go to the main page here, so this serves as a repository, blah blah blah. It starts in town of aelas, barony holding of the same name. Barony sits in the coastal kingdom of Nindor. The town and the surrounding area are the chief places. So those are my key people and places. So I can come here to Nindor, and I've got my little flag, and I've got my overall map right there. Within Nindor, I've got it nested that the barony's right here, right? And this is, again, a lot of the stuff isn't all that fleshed out, right? So, like, see here, I've got a demographics, and this was randomly determined demographics, so this is going to get changed, which is why it's just a very simple list. And this right here is my information. This is for me. This map will get replaced with the map we're working on. I've got population, several organizations, persistent city, a little bit of information and stuff right there. And right here, you can see all those content links that are right there and relationships. So now, if I come here, I can go into my organizations. I've got a few organizations that I'm fleshing out. Again, all this comes from like notes and just building up the adventure. Well, you don't have to do it all. So, like, here's the thing. This is how typically I start, and I've got a lot of practice at this, and I've got a game world that I've got fairly developed. And don't feel like you need to get that involved into it. So the first thing I'm going to come here is I'm going to come here, and you notice I got a D&D tab right here, right? So all this stuff is for generation. So if I've got to make a really quick adventure, right? You come here, and this is dungeon, and I can link that in chat. So this is dungeon, and this is a random adventure generator, right? This is like the bare bones. I need something quick. I don't have shit. So it gives you a theme, a goal, story hook, plot, climax, general settings, specific settings, master villain, minor villain, stuff like that. So any you can grab any part or all of this information, right? Any or all. So now you've got the basis to form what you need. Okay. So then I'm going to look at, like, I'll start looking at, most of the story takes place in a large, sophisticated city. So right there, I know I need a city. So then I'm going to come here. I'm going to keep that open because I need that information. I'll go to D&D, and then I'll go to my city generator. 404 error not found. So that's a dead link. That sucks. So I'll delete that here in a little bit. Give me 1 second. I'm looking for like different things. So my city generation no longer applies. Generator. All right, that's an actual text thing. All right. Let's see here. So barring that, now that I don't have a random city generator, I know it's a large city. So what I can do is I can go. So I found one here that says medieval city generator. Bam, look, and it's a sophisticated large town. So I can go large town, or I can go small town, right? And it's not just this information. So like you got craftsman, you can actually pan over it. Slum, craftsman, slum, craftsman, slum, craftsman, 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 castle, farm. You got some roads. So you've got a base city now, right? So now the next thing I know, I got specific settings. That specific setting one. Dungeon for crimes they do not, so they could be there. This citadel of major enemy, stronghold, unassailable. So right here, here's a good thing. Citadel of a major enemy, stronghold, unassailable, filled with soldiers and monsters, lined with secret passages and death rooms. I got a citadel already. It's right here. If I wanted to do that, or I could say the citadel's off over here, stuff like that. So it's bite-sized chunks. You always want bite-sized chunks, right? And you always want to try to get like a good portion of the what you can actually throw an adventure into. You want a starting point. And for mine, I've got that started right here. Okay, so Secrets of the Sewers, level 1 through 4. So I've got a dungeon, a basic dungeon, and I've got this dungeon made up. Right, and I've got it populated with monsters and stuff like that. Now, that right there is just, it could be an opening, it can be an introductory, it could also be a part of the overall story theme. None of that's actually in there yet. Like I said, this is all developing, right? And you don't have to go into the level of detail I go into. It really depends on your players. So like you have various different players, and there's plenty of topics that speak on this. But what you want to do is you want to make something that your players are going to enjoy, and you're going to make something that's going to want to test them a little bit. So if you got role-playing characters, you want role-play in there. If you've got puzzle-solving characters, you want trap rooms, secret doors, puzzles, something like a you know uh, like the Librarian TV series or something like that. If you remember that. If you got people that are just in there for min-maxing the character, fucking scoring that crit and looking badass while slaying the fucking Orc Goblin King, then you could do a hack and slash adventure. And all of them can be placed in any setting. Uh, what what game are you actually playing? Is it Dungeons and Dragons? And if so, is it 5th edition, 3rd edition, 4th edition? What are we doing here? Okay, so 5th edition D&D, if you have the DMG, there's a whole section on an adventure, on generating a campaign world and an adventure in there, and that's a great start. There's nothing wrong with that. So essentially, there's also aspects of making a player base or a city for player basing and stuff like that. Utilize the DMG like as much as you can, because that'll get you a long, long way. Like they did it in this edition, they did a